Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Career Launch Live. I'm your host, Katherine McCord, president of Titan Management. I am so excited about today's episode. I have some wonderful, wonderful women joining me right here from the Treasure Coast area, which, as many of you know, is where I live. Yes, I'm bragging about my wonderful weather and beach lifestyle, just rubbing it in everyone else's faces. It's freezing to death. Sorry, guys, but I do love my life. So welcome. I am so very excited. We have very wonderful guests coming on. Joining us first is going to be I don't even know what to call her. She's just amazing. She basically can just style your whole life. She's an interior designer and a fashion consultant. Miss Kristina is going to be joining us. We have Michaela, of course, for our psychology segment, and also her inspirational story. She has a very neat story to share with us as well. Then we're going to have Ingrid Hernandez with us, who is a veteran and turned sales professional. We're going to talk about her transition and her amazing story. Then we're going to have Joy Ruffen, who's going to talk to us about overcoming obstacles. She has a wonderful inspirational story, and her show is changing women's lives. Honestly, she really spends a lot of time helping other women grow and develop. And then last, but most certainly not least, we are going to have Miss Valencia Tillery joining us, who is going to talk to us about personal branding and about what it's like to really get out there and network and how that can benefit you professionally. So everything from fashion and how we should be dressing professionally and presenting ourselves, to inspiration, to career tips, to personal branding. So stay tuned, ladies. We're going to have a wonderful show. And we're also going to be doing some exciting giveaways. So I believe Miss Ingrid has some makeup products that she's going to be giving away. We also have a fashion boot camp, which, ladies, will help you dress for success, which is important. I know we'd all like to pretend it doesn't matter how we look and how we present ourselves, but it does. And we are going to get some excellent advice on that from our first guest. And we're going to talk about her boot camp and give away an opportunity to participate. And we're also going to give away a career consultation today. So stay tuned for that as well. But I want to start this episode by talking about, hi, Paola. I'm getting a hello from a guest, one of my favorite people too. She's been on the show before and will be again. I want to talk about a subject that is near and dear to me right off the bat. So, ladies, we've been taught that being polite is first and foremost, no matter what. And I want to bust that myth today. So, we've talked about on the show sexual harassment, people telling you what you can and cannot do as a woman, people putting you down for various reasons, telling you, oh, you're a mom, you're not going to take your career seriously, whatever it is. And we are told to just let it go, right? That's the polite thing to do. That's how we are told that we have to handle every situation. It's just to blow it off, smile, and go, oh, okay, just keep on going. No, ladies, let's just get this right on out there. If someone does anything to hurt you, first of all, defend yourself. If someone touches you when you don't want to be touched, yell at them, make fun of them. If somebody hits on you at work, call them out, make a joke, embarrass them. They deserve it. If someone messages you on LinkedIn in a fashion that is not professional, call them out and report and block them. Side note, it is not acceptable. I'm bringing this up today because after starting the show, I started getting a lot of these types of communications. And I've also, working in recruiting and employee relations consulting, I've been exposed to a lot of very negative situations that could have easily not escalated had the woman stood up for herself. And I want to say that it's not your fault if someone behaves this way towards you. It is absolutely not your fault, but please stand up for yourself and do something about it. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Stand up, speak loud, and say, I got this. And if someone tells you you can't do something, show them they're wrong. Show them how ridiculous they sound. I've been told a million times, oh, you can't negotiate as well as a man. You can't move furniture as well as a man. I moved a whole office suite by myself because my staff was busy. Yeah. Desks, chairs, computers, whole bit. Did it myself. So don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do. Just if you want to do something, put your mind to it and do it first and foremost. I'm also going to take this little opportunity before we bring on Miss Kristina, who I'm very excited to welcome, to go ahead and give a few job seeker tips, because I've been getting asked this a lot. There's so many candidates in the job market right now. How do you stand out, right? First of all, personal branding. And stay tuned for Miss Anna, because she's going to talk to us a lot about this too, but I'm going to give you a few tips specific to the job search right now. On LinkedIn, post. Show people what you know. Talk about your expertise. Talk about issues that are important to you. Please do not get political. That does not help anybody on LinkedIn, unless you work in a field where that's relevant. Talk about things that are important to you. Show your volunteer work. Talk about what it's like in your job search. Open up. People love that personal connection, but brand yourself on LinkedIn. In your picture on LinkedIn, I just did a live earlier with Scott Frieda about this very issue, the importance of social media in your job search. Make sure that you not only are dressed appropriately, but that it's an appropriate picture. You can show off your personality and still be professional. No goofy poses, no alcohol, please. And make sure that it is a dignified picture. That's a huge aspect. Also, send a video follow-up to employers. If they've reached out to you about a job, done a phone interview, something like that, sending a video response is a wonderful personal touch that really catches the eye of HR and recruiters. And it's something that will get you noticed and help you to stand out. Another big one is to send e-cards to potential employers. If you see an employer that you really want to work with and you can find the email of the person doing the hiring for that position, send them an e-card, just a happy St. Patrick's Day or happy Easter or whatever, just a generic card, and just sign it with your name and say you're candidate hopeful at the bottom. Don't make the whole card about what you're looking to do, but definitely take that opportunity to just send them a nice note. It will help you to stand out, okay? And in terms of your resume, resumes are a nightmare, folks. I'm sorry, ladies. Resumes are so difficult. If you want help with anything pertaining to your resume, getting them through the ATS and all of that, I know some wonderful experts, and I'm glad to put you in connection with them. I'm very, very happy to do so. And I see Miss Kristina is already with us, and that's all I have to say for our intro. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, that outfit is gorgeous.
Well, thank you. I try.
And I guess with what you do, it's kind of important to always be dressed a certain way.
Yes, you got to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. So absolutely, yeah. And it's interesting what you said, that personal branding is a big topic, and Anna's going to talk more about it because it is a big part of what I do too. So it's all about personal branding today.
It is. And really, truly, your subject helps with personal branding, right? Because you're telling us how to present ourselves physically, which does matter, especially in the interview process.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We had a comment that said that job search is a common issue during COVID. Yes, you are spot on. And we are definitely going to be talking about that a lot today. And Mercedes says she likes your haircut.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Quick fix, I'll say that.
I envy you. Like I want to look good with short hair, but it's just not a thing.
Well, everyone keeps saying that. I think you just got to give it a try, because hair will always grow back. So,
I have done it. It's just been many, many, many years. So let's first hear your story. So you are in such an interesting field, working with fashion. I say really fashion consulting. You you do a lot with fashion, and you do your videos and everything, and then interior design. How did you break into that, first of all?
Well, my background is in marketing and advertising. So branding was that's how I ended up in the US. I was transferred from my company in Sweden. And then when I quit my job, because I worked in Manhattan in New York City, and I just kind of was a little burnt out before I had even turned 30. So, but I had to go back to school, because otherwise, you got to get a visa. And interior design was a hobby. I've always been kind of loving all sorts of design and fashion. And I figured, you know what, that'd be fun. So I went back to college, studied interior design, and really have been doing it for the last, 16 years now. But throughout the years, my clients often told me, you could sort of see the disconnect sometimes when you got the house all done up. And then the client said, well, I wish you could just do me as well, so I fit my house now. And I grew up in a fashion family. My grandmother and then mother had women's boutiques. So I kind of grew up in that world. And I figured, you know what? I got to take this to heart. I got to look at the whole person, because there shouldn't be a disconnect between how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your environment. They need to be hand in hand in order. Otherwise, you're not going to feel at home in your house or at home in yourself. And I just, you know what? I figured I got to explore that. So I certified to be an image consultant. And
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so cool. So you, and I've talked to women who have gone through your courses, and that's actually part of what inspired me to invite you, is they all talk about what a change that made for them professionally. So what do you think is the connection between how a woman dresses and A, her confidence level and how she perceives herself, and then B, how that translates into business for her?
Well, there have been studies out there, and I don't, on the top of my head, don't remember exactly who did the study, but that shows that if we feel better about how we look, we perform better. They had college students. One group got to put on whatever, dressier clothing and makeup, and the other ones had to have sweatpants and no makeup. The group that, and that was the only difference between them, and the group that felt better about how they looked performed better. So I do absolutely think that confidence levels and how we perform and how we succeed, it really matters. That you got to start with yourself. You got to be happy in your own skin and how you feel about yourself.
Right, 100%. And I think a lot of people think that means that they have to dress a certain way, that they have to match some kind of stereotype. But you really teach the opposite, that you can have your own fashion sense come out. So let's talk about that a little bit. How do you teach women how to present themselves effectively, but still represent who they are?
I'm so glad you asked that, because that's kind of the core of everything I do. You gotta, again, we go back to personal branding, and the key in all branding is positioning. So you gotta know who you are. So you gotta answer the question, who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I want people to see me? And when you know that, then you can find your personal style. And I always say, fashion is fun, but fashion is not for everyone. You got to find your style, your fashion, and then you can play around with things that are, in fashion right now. So for instance, if you love pastels or yellow, which is going to come in spring, great. Then you can find that now, but don't look at fashion as a must. You got to look at yourself. Who am I, and what is my style? What is my personal style? And then that's how you kind of build yourself and your closet.
I love that. And we just got a comment that I think is pretty much for you. So Miss Pamela here says, definitely need a boost to my confidence because it has affected me in so many areas, especially my career.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of women feel that way, especially even more so than men. Although I think men definitely have it too. I'm sure you've had male clients. But there is something different with us women, that we want to feel comfortable and express ourselves. And it's hard sometimes to bring that out in fashion. I've had that struggle where I'm like, how do I express myself and be comfortable? Because that's another thing, is comfort, right? So there's so many fashionable outfits that are so horrible to have to wear, like big stiletto heels. I love them and they make us look beautiful, but oh my Lord, no, thank you. And
no, I agree.
So being careful. So so staying comfortable for work, because let's say you're like me and you are all over the place every day.
Mhm.
How do you stay comfortable and still look professional at the same time? What are some of your top tips for that?
Well, comfort is key. And I think one way to find comfort is to find clothes that are actually made for your body type. Because
Right.
if I'm trying to wear something that's made for another shape, then it's not going to be comfortable. But if you find something that's for your shape, it's going to hit me in all the right places and be loose when we need it to be loose. So learning your body shape and how to dress for your shape is number one.
100% agree with you. And as somebody who is broad-shouldered, big busted, and let me tell you, the weirdest part of me is that I somehow have big hips, big thighs, and the tiniest rear end in the history of life. And I'm so awkwardly shaped. But I think
you're right and wrong. There's no awkwards. It's just learning. Like these are the best ways for me to dress. And then you can also hide the things you don't want to, you want to kind of bypass.
That's
your
true.
least favorite parts. And then you can highlight the ones you like. But it's all about creating that balance. And when things fit and are comfortable and sit, in all the right spots, you're going to feel way more comfortable.
100%. And I want to say real quick, so Tara has commented, who is one of my favorite human beings, by the way. She said, Kristina, you are fabulous. Love everything about your look, your rocking, and your entire background. Yes.
Well, now
I love her too.
Thank you, Tara.
Tara is a lover of all human beings and just is one of those people that always wants to inspire and help people grow. So I just adore her. And then Paola has said, I love her. Kristina is just speaking and I'm here to take notes. And the whole picture of my screen is bringing it to life.
Oh, well, good. Thank you. Wow, you guys make me feel great.
This is so important, right? Because I mean, I'm a fashion disaster half the time. I mean, if I'm just sitting around the house, I'm in like my sundress and like, no bra and just chilling out. And even if I'm working, that's just how I work because I'm comfortable. But once you go out into public, it's this whole other game. And I've actually been watching some of your videos.
Oh, great.
I haven't. And if anybody hears a cat, I'm sorry. My assistant is mowing today. Usually she's silent for the show, but she's not cooperating today. But it's true. It really helps. And hashtag leggings, Tara says, yes, hashtag leggings, girl.
Well, sometimes leggings are okay.
Yes. Well, not for every occasion. Yeah, please don't wear them for every occasion, but for certain things, absolutely. And we have a comment. I'm an immigrant which you can relate to, where I can go through language and attitude differences. How can I get confidence in a foreign country? Ooh, that is right up your alley.
That is super interesting and really, well, you always got to look at, of course, culture where you are, when in Rome. So if you go to a country that, I mean, if I would travel to a Muslim country, of course, you got to sort of cover up more and take the custom. But I think today with the world is way more international with all the social medias and TV shows and everything is international. So I think it's less culturally segmented today than it used to be. Yeah. I think we're much more alike than we are separate. But of course, I can see differences between my home country of Sweden and the US. There are some small differences.
Small.
Well, I mean, culturally and how you dress, because I think in the US we are more individualists. In Sweden, more kind of herd animals. They all want to look alike, and they. Sorry, all Swedes, but that's just the way it is.
Well, I mean, truth is truth, right? I think, I think that one thing too is that I've known a lot of people who are immigrants to this country who were afraid to bring out the style from back home But to your point, that I think here in the US, this is the perfect place to do that and maybe combine the two. I used to have a friend, or we're still friends, but I haven't seen him in a long time, who is from Nigeria and would combine the fashion. And it was a really cool look.
I love that. Love it. And it also goes back to your personal brand. It is a part of who you are. Yes. So don't neglect that. I definitely think embrace it and try to work with it and play with it, and don't shy away from your roots and who you are. Absolutely not.
100%. And I've told a lot of people things like that over the years, that no matter what, be authentic. And people always, what does that mean? Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, do that.
And that really helps. Knowing yourself and who you are really helps when you do anything. I mean, it has to do with interiors, of course, but when you go shopping, because we can get talked into things like, oh, that looks great on you, I think you should buy it. And then we come home and we're like, oh, that's like, not, no. What did I do? And it's going to be something that's just hanging there and you're never going to use it. When you know who you are and the style that you want to show off or feel comfortable in, you're not going to make those mistakes anymore. When you go shopping, you say, yeah, it looks nice, but it's not me. So it's knowing who you are and what you want people to think when they see you. That first impression you want to give. When you know that, everything else kind of makes it so much easier.
Absolutely. I completely and totally agree. Are you hearing reverb, by the way, or is that just me?
I'm hearing something. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to grab my headset here. But the same lady has also asked, India and America has a big difference. Yes, they do. We do.
Yep.
But there's always a way to still represent. I mean, actually, there's some wonderful Indian American models. I can't think of their names off the top of my head. I don't follow models that much, but I know that there are some who have done fashion mixtures, and that may be a really interesting thing for you to look into and to explore. The other thing is, don't be afraid to just dress how you would dress back home, as long as it meets, any which it would in India. I mean, any kind of job requirements or things like that. I wouldn't think there would be any kind of conflict there, but embrace it, or if you just want to go full on American style, whatever that is, there's so many different styles, knock yourself out. I mean, wouldn't you say, Kristina? Just kind of.
I do agree. And I think the good thing about living in a country like this, where we have a lot of different cultures, is that it is okay. It is okay to dress how you of course, appropriately. We should not walk around naked, but it's okay to dress.
There's health reasons for that too. Like, we live at the beach. You just have sand everywhere. Places you do not want sand.
And again, yes, not comfortable. Yes.
Not good. Not good. And real quick, Sasha says, Sasha Zebrick, who's also been on the show, if Sasha Speaks, when you know who you are is the best answer to building your brand. And thank you, Kristina. 100%. I agree. And Mercedes has asked, what about age prejudices? Like when employers rather select competent because of age differences. I think the last part of that got a little lost in translation, but age prejudice, first of all, is the number one bias in the job market today. A lot of people don't realize that. Ageism has been lowered to 45. That is not old. I don't know where people are getting this idea that 45 is old.
Wow.
But it's been lowered. And the best thing, actually, Kristina can speak to this too. So energy is the main thing, because when people say, I don't want someone in a certain age group, they're saying one of two things. Either I'm insecure about my job and I think you're going to take it. There's not too much you could do about somebody that's that insecure. Or they're saying, I need energy. So you need to be relaying energy. And let me tell you, and we're going to have some guests on later that will prove this, age does not mean that you don't have energy. No. So just portray that. Just show that energy. What are some of your tips, Kristina, in terms, because I mean, you do all of your videos, you know how to be on. I've seen you at these networking events. How do you like to show energy even when you don't necessarily feel like it?
Well, I mean, it is a training. You got to sort of work at it too. If you have, or if you feel low energy one day, you got to sort of pep yourself up with, if it's music or do 10 jumping jacks or whatever it is. Just kind of, and I say, when in doubt, smile, because it naturally just releases endorphins and it makes you more alert. So put on that smile, if nothing else, if you don't feel like doing jumping jacks. But again, with ageism and dressing and confidence, it's the same thing there. I think that when we feel comfortable in our own skin and we know more about ourselves and who we are and what we stand for, we care less about how old we are.
100%.
So
100%. Yeah. And I will tell you too, if you don't let it affect you, if you don't let your age affect you, it won't bother them either.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also how you dress will matter. So definitely check out some of Kristina's tips about that. Maybe we're going to talk about the contest in a minute. So when one of her free boot camps, or when one of her boot camps for free, and how you dress and present yourself can have a big aspect.
Yeah.
So if you have Barbara Bush hair, for instance, that may not be the most effective way to show your energy level and your vitality. So take a look at that type of thing. Also, too much makeup, ladies. Funny enough, I've spoken to a lot of recruiters and I say, okay, what are you seeing from your clients that is causing age discrimination? I say one of the number one things is too much makeup. It makes a woman look old.
Yeah,
no,
I agree. It's and it can be sometimes out of trying to cover up, because you think it's not going to show as well if you cover up more, but it has the reverse effect. And of course, Ingrid knows all.
Oh yes, we're going to talk to Ingrid about that later. Ingrid's going to give us all of our makeup tips later after her inspirational story. And Patricia Copewood says, "Embrace you be you 100%." And that's something else I've noticed about you, Kristina, that you're very good at, is just being yourself and putting it out there. This is what I've got going on.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm really bad at being anyone else. So
you gotta work with everybody though, right? All you can be is yourself, right?
Yeah, only say I can only do me, you can only do you, but we can try to do the best version. Because I do think that, and I totally agree that we should feel comfortable, be ourselves, be comfortable in who we are. But don't forget that how you show up matters, has a huge impact. So if you say, I don't care, I'm going to come in sweats, they just have to take me as I am. I mean, it's your prerogative to do that, but
what does it say about you?
Yes, people will judge. So as long as we're aware of that, that first impressions last, and 85% of that first impression is based on how you look. So
that's very true. That's very, very true. So I want to wrap up with you by talking about your amazing boot camp that's coming up and how all of these lovely ladies can learn even more from you and get some good one-on-one education or group education. So tell us a little bit about that, please.
Okay, so I've done an in-person workshop for a couple of years now where I teach a lot of the things we talked about today, how you dress for your body shape, your best colors, how you find your personal brand and your personal style. But of course, with COVID, we had to rethink. So I've taken it virtually. And I'm doing it in a boot camp form. So it's over 3 days. It's 1 hour a day. So it's not going to take up your whole weekend. But that way, I'm going to give a little assignments too. So you can go shopping in your own closet. Because a lot of the things we're looking for is already there. We just need to learn to look at it through different eyes.
Interesting.
So, yes. So it's going to start March 12th. Friday, March 12th is the first day. We're going to meet at 2 p.m. each day. And it's going to be fun, and it's super affordable because I want to help as many women as I can.
Yes, there it is. There's the info.
Yeah, it starts at $39.
That's amazing. That is amazing value. And ladies, so definitely connect with Kristina on LinkedIn, on Facebook. And she's
actually the website for the launch site for the bootcamp is live today. So you can go on to bringyourstylebootcamp.com and find out.
There it is, bringyourstylebootcamp.com. And if you want to register to win the free access to this boot camp, then what I need you to do, please, is connect to both Kristina and I. To me on LinkedIn, Katherine McCord, I'm pretty much the only one on there somehow, and to Miss Kristina on either Facebook or LinkedIn. Let us know that you've connected to both. Let me know that. I will enter you in the drawing, and the drawing will be done later today.
Yay!
So for all of you that want more of Miss Kristina, please connect to her. And thank you so much for joining us today.
It was so much fun.
It was a true pleasure. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And everybody, again, please connect to Miss Kristina.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. And now we are going to be bringing on Miss Michaela McCord. Let's see if we can get her in here. There she is. Hello. So, you know, Michaela has been with us since the beginning. She's done our psychology segment. She's been a co-host. This is her last episode with us for a while because she is busy, and we understand that. But
Yay,
we're still
master's programs.
Yay, master's programs. But so first of all, going with what Kristina was talking about from the psychology perspective, as that is one of your two majors, how do you think that affects when women feel confident, when women have on different clothes? Can you kind of walk us through the psychology of that?
Yes, yes, I can. Because this is something that I've actually witnessed firsthand myself. I think this is a pretty good example. When teletherapy first started, so when COVID hit, everything fell apart, and counselors had to sort of get our stuff together, and like move to online. It was a lot of counseling. I remember I have my own counselor. I remember talking to her, and that she like a lot of times would be wearing shorts like from like the waist down, like be very professional makeup, and then like just like chill shorts. And I remember that at one point I said, I just can't do that right now on my own, just starting out, getting my legs wet. And I can't really do that because it just, that confidence level just like dissipated. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm just sitting here in my shorts. I'm just chilling at home. But whenever I put on dress pants, did my makeup, did my hair, and showed up for my sessions, my confidence level just boosted. And what I really think is happening there is embodiment. You're embodying what you put out. So like when you put on the makeup and you do that, you're giving yourself a different image of yourself, if that makes sense.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. That makes sense.
Okay. I said it sort of weird.
No, you didn't. No, that made sense.
Okay,
I think that's very true. And I think that because I have to do that, right, for the show. People have told me, oh, just wear a t-shirt or whatever. It's your own show. Who cares? I thought, no, this is a professional show. I need to have that mentality on, that mindset on. And I think it just does kind of help us gear up.
And oh my gosh, you know what I just realized? I really see this as a social thing, because if it's just us and we're by ourselves, then that's not really going to matter. Whatever you wear, whatever. But whenever whenever you go in front of other people, all of a sudden it's like, oh, how are other people going to see me? How are they going to perceive me? And you running a show, I know we have a comment, sorry, just real quick, but when you have a show and you're in front of a bunch of people, you do want to present a certain image. And when you don't have that
same thing at work and in job interviews.
No, that's very true. Like what image are you giving off? Yeah.
Yes. How are you presenting yourself? That energy. We're back to that in who you are. So Paula says, I'm with you, Michaela. I dress up first thing in the morning every day, or else my mind is a few levels behind. Yep.
Exactly. It is. Yeah. Like and for me, it's not only dress. Like it's mainly dress, like especially if I'm going out and presenting myself somewhere, but it's also like a lot of times I'll go and get a workout in the morning, and that gets my body going, the energy levels. And if you can't get a workout in, I love what Kristina. I love what Kristina was saying about just doing some like 10 jumping jacks or listening to a song. Yeah, I do push-ups. I just get down, do some push-ups, like, beast, even though we bust out like 15 to 20.
The physical aspect is huge. So exercise, yoga, these things will get your mind right for the day, whether you're job seeking or going to work or building a business, whatever you're doing, do something to take care of your body and make sure that you're sleeping enough. Please, that will
Yes,
break down your
please.
mind. We've done a whole bit about that on the mental health episode that we did recently, is
Yeah.
the importance of sleep and the importance of taking care of your body. It does affect your mind.
Well, we're holistic beings. So
Yes.
whatever you do with your body, you guys, is going to affect your mind and vice versa. What holistic being, what I mean by holistic beings is that we are whole. We're not just a mind, we're not just a body, we're not just a personality, we're not just our thoughts, we're not just our emotions. We are all of these things together. And
Mhm.
whatever you put into your body, put out of your body, like, I mean, exercise, that it affects everything. Sorry, I can get off on a soapbox with
Yeah,
that. So I'll
we're
let
not
you.
going to go down that train.
I just want to
but
mention it.
but no, but it's very true. It's very, very true. And it's important to remember those things, that what affects one does affect the other. So one thing I want to talk about too, that we've kind of brushed up against on this show, is your story. So because I've had people say, well, why is Michaela on the show? Is it just because she's your sister? I said, no.
Yes. No,
No,
no.
let me rest assured. If you know me, you know I would not have anybody represent me that that wouldn't do it well. I don't care who you
Mhm.
are. But you have a very interesting story and how you
Mhm.
got into what you do. You have this wonderful therapy dog, Maslow, who's making impacts all over Waco, Texas. He's a whole celebrity now.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if he's anywhere where he can be seen, but
He
he
is. Hold on.
he is.
Last
All
time
right,
I
let's see
checked, he
Maz.
was. Oh
Let's
no,
see
he
Maz.
left me. Oh no, he didn't. He's down there.
Oh yes, there he
Yeah,
is. There is Maslow.
sort of.
So Maslow the therapy dog is this whole phenomenon in Waco, and he's made a big difference. But let's talk about real quick why you got into this and kind of your background and your story and kind of some things, not too much detail. As we always say, we're not entitled to anybody's trauma or anybody's medical history or anything like that, but just kind of a brief, what inspired you and your background.
That is an excellent question. Hmm. I actually got into psychology at first because I wanted to do animal training, as you all know, Catherine.
Mhm.
Um, and I remember I was in my first semester psychology course, just basic general psych for animal, like just in it for animal training. And there was a lot of stuff going on my first semester of college and a lot of stuff that just changed me. And in my first semester, I remember that it was just like, I do love animals and I'm different than I was. And I decided to do something with that change. And that's probably the best way I can put what happened. And I really became very interested in the human mind. And it really wasn't until I knew I wanted to be a counselor, but it wasn't until oh, hi,
Yeah.
Susan.
Hi,
um,
Susan. And yes, we all love Maslow.
but it wasn't, oh, of course. But yeah, it wasn't until my master program, actually, when I really started counseling, that I just fell in love. Like, I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted to help people. I didn't know it was my passion and it's what I fell in love with until I was in it and doing it.
Isn't that funny how that happens? I got into recruiting.
So scary.
I kind of fought the getting into recruiting because that's what mom did. And when you're young, you're like, I don't want to do
I
what
want
my
to do what mom does.
parents did. But I got into it and I just fell in love and I liked it and I liked everything about it. And I think that a lot of people are afraid to just find what they love. It's like, well, this makes me money, or just because I'm good at this, I should keep doing it. And people are afraid to make those career pivots and to make those kinds of decisions. So, what would you say for our job seekers or even our professionals that are in a career and going, oh my God, this is so boring. What am I going to do with myself? Or I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel like I'm making as good of an impact in the world as I could. What would you say to them?
The very first thing that came to my mind as you were talking about this and that people get into jobs for money, um, first of all, that makes sense to me. That is the very first thing that happened, is that's good fitness. And when I say fitness, I'm not talking necessarily about body fitness. I just
Right.
mean sort of evolutionary fitness. Like you're taking care
Right.
of yourself. That's what you're
Right.
doing. Um, However, There's another aspect, as I mentioned earlier, of being holistic beings that's also very important to our health, and that is your psyche. Those are your emotions. And
Yes.
absolutely follow the passion. I
Yeah.
agree very much with that comment, because following your passion is going to do is it's going to increase your happiness. It's going to increase your ability to enjoy life.
And
Because
your
if you're
health.
just
And your health.
and your health, because if you do not enjoy what you do and you're constantly just dreading going to work, you're just living on a routine of I'm making money, I'm doing this, whatever. Now, I will say that I've talked to my boyfriend a lot about that he has other things that are his passion. Like, he likes his work. He likes it.
Oh
Sometimes it
yeah.
drives him crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes he hates it. He's doing what he calls grunge work right
Oh,
now.
I quit recruiting like once a week. Like I just am like, no, can't
But
do
he
it
does it
anymore.
because it is a good salary. He makes
Mhm,
a very decent living, and
mhm.
he can do his passions outside of it. So I guess let me be a little more concise. What I'm saying is, as long as you can fulfill that need of passion and well-being
Mhm.
somewhere else, and
Right.
you're not losing your damn mind at your job, then that's okay. Just make sure that somewhere in your life you are getting that emotional fulfillment. Because your
Yes.
body needs it. And I don't mean to
Yes.
sound hippie or anything.
No, no,
I
no. It's
literally
true. It's
okay.
biologically factual. I mean, and you guys can research this. You can go. In fact, WebMD did an article on this about that. Your mental state does in fact affect your health. So this needs to be right for this to be right. And in
Mhm.
fact, there have been multiple studies, including I believe it was the Mayo Clinic, and I know Harvard did a study on it too, that cancer patients did better when they were also receiving psychological treatments. They
Yes.
did better in
Oh,
their recovery.
100%.
So this is very, very important to keep in mind. Another thing, guys, or ladies, excuse me, I should be specific because this one we're really targeting women. So today I don't have to be generic. I
Just
can be
say
very
dudes,
specific. So
guys,
yeah, dude. Um,
y'all.
another thing that's y'all. Yeah, there we go. I'll bring out my Texas. Y'all. Hey, y'all. I think that now I've lost my train of thought, but oh, I got it. So I think that it's really important as you're going through this journey and you're looking for a job or you're looking to find your own career. If something is making you crazy, get rid of it. And people go, well, I can't just quit my job. Well, first of all, yeah, you can. But second of all, find something else first and then quit if you need to. If that's what your financial situation dictates, that's perfectly fine.
One thing
No
I do to
problem.
clients sometimes that drives them sort of nuts on occasion is when they say I can't do something. I'll say, I wonder if you would say if you would change that to would and say that again. Say that same sentence
Yeah,
again, but change it to I won't. No, I won't instead of I
I
can't.
love it. I like that
And,
because
and
it's
oh
so
yeah, and a lot of times you'll just
common.
get this.
Yeah, the pout.
Oh,
I
and I
don't
do
like
it too.
you. This
I have
made
to,
me
you know,
realize that.
I'm gonna take personal responsibility. I do the same thing. Like when I'm in my sessions with
We
my
all
counselor and she does that to
do.
me, I'm like,
Yeah. Pout.
fine.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. But you do need to pay attention to these kind of things. So the other kind of point that I wanted to get to with all of this. So we're talking about having your mind right and all of that. So as you are growing in your career, you're going to hit stress points. You are going to hit times where you are just going berserk. I'm in one of them right now. I am a crazy person right now. And I'm doing everything I can to try to engage in things that make me happy, to take breaks. Oh, hey, Maz, what's
Sorry,
up?
he's
There's my little
being
nephew. It's
needy.
okay.
I
He can join
apologize.
right on in. Maslow has needs too. We're gonna embrace his emotional needs as well. So, you're gonna hit these points where you're really, really stressed out. And there's nothing you can do about them because to reach that next level, you have to go through this. You're at one of those right now with your master's program. Like, oh, I've got to get through this. But you still have to do things to take care of yourself
Yes.
or you will not be as successful. So it has been proven time and again, and I don't know the studies, I usually do, but I don't know the studies right off the top of my head, that you must take breaks in order for your mind to function properly. So if you are busy during the day and you're having trouble finding time to eat, tell somebody to wait. That meeting, does not need to take an hour. And let me tell you, most meetings go on way too long anyway. That's a whole other tirade I can get onto. But take 20 minutes, shut everyone out. I highly recommend putting on music, but that is up to you. And just eat and breathe and reboot. Because then when you get back out there, you will be far more effective. And that is just scientific fact. It's been proven over and over and over and over again. It's just scientific fact. And when we have a comment, it says, I agree 100%. Do what you love. Maybe sometimes you have to work on something else while you are building the path to do what you follow. What you want to follow, excuse me. 100%. Yes, absolutely. And what do you think, Michaela, about the idea of, as you're growing and as because you need to take breaks, how else do you handle that stress? Because we're talking today about how we do these things, how we reach the next level of success. So when you're struggling to find that time, how do you do that? And yes, Susan, what made me think about this and what it prompted this little segment was your wasted hour post. So yes, thank you, Susan. Full credit to Miss Susan Straub, another wonderful lady who everyone should.
Oh yes, I just had a small comment to make because this ties into everything we're talking about, and I am a overachiever. And that comes from a place of anxiety. It really does. It's that I don't want to stop. If I stop, that means I'm not doing anything. There's like a whole backstory there. But so basically what I'm saying is I'm very familiar with this on a personal level and on a professional level. So I guess the question is, how do you give yourself those breaks? This goes back to what I think is caring about yourself enough to want to do what's healthy for yourself, want to rejuvenate yourself. Because I see a lot of times that people ultimately won't do those things for themselves. They have to be like physically stopped and say, hey, no, we're stopping. And a lot of times that's what happens in my counseling sessions with clients, is that I'll just have to say, let's stop here. And I noticed that I can get a little hypocritical in that way throughout the weeks, and I'll catch myself and like remember, oh right, I say that to clients, I should probably do it myself too. Because oftentimes that can be very difficult. So I guess in a roundabout way, what I'm trying to say is give yourself moments to care about yourself. I think that is the most important thing to do here. And here she comes back. I was about to say
I wanted to let people just hear you for a minute and not look at me. But I think, what do we always say on the show? Give yourself grace.
Yeah. Oh,
give yourself
love
grace
too. Grace,
and love.
compassion, love. Love is, I think, a choice. Like, yes, we all have some amount of love within us. That is very true. Some of us more than others. Some of us can show it in different ways than others. But I still think it is a conscious choice. And guess what, guys, ladies, people, y'all watching? It's the same for you. It is a choice to love yourself. And getting to know who you are.
Proud of yourself.
Pride in yourself. Yes, and as Kristina was talking about when she was on, it's a matter of coming to know who you are. And ways to do that is just look at yourself in the mirror. Have you like, I want to know, Katherine, have you ever just really stopped and looked at yourself in the mirror? Like looked into your own eyes without judgment even. That's the hard part. Without judgment. And just really looked.
Not physically, like looked at myself in a mirror, but I have taken time, and I'd make a point to do this periodically, to stop and reflect on who I am and appreciate the strengths, to forgive and let go the mistakes, and to learn from said mistakes and or misunderstandings, whatever the case was. I think that that's a really important thing to do, to take that personal time. So even though I was not physically looking at myself,
you still do the reflection.
I still do the reflection.
And that's what's ultimately important. Though I would encourage people listening to take that moment for themselves.
And don't focus on your physical stuff.
Well, but even so, notice that I have 2 nostrils. I've got lips, and really take a moment to look into your eyes Just
Mhm.
notice what you see. And then when those judgments come in, they're going to. Let's just all say it, they're going to come in.
Mhm.
Don't take them too seriously. What hangs us up are taking thoughts and judgments and let's call them what they are, internalizations, too seriously. So just
Right.
like, oh, hey, there that comes saying that, oh, my smile's crooked sometimes. Whatever.
Mine.
Yeah.
Well, well, thank you so much, Michaela, for sharing. It's been a great segment, and we will miss you on to have you on regularly, but you'll be in the background still helping out with the show, and
Yeah,
I know you'll return to us when you're able. So
I will. Bye,
adios
guys.
and best of luck.
Bye.
All right, and now we are bringing on a very exciting guest. I'm really excited to have her on because her story is so fascinating and her energy is just contagious. We're going to bring on Miss Ingrid Hernandez.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
I can, and you look fabulous, doll. I love that shirt. You and Miss Kristina are showing up today. I love it.
Thank you.
We're kind of going through and we're starting with everybody's story. And I feel like yours is so interesting. And I could almost do a whole show just on your story, but let's at least learn a little bit about you and your background and how you came to be where you are today.
Well, a little fast forward. So I come from kind of a family of abusive home. So I grew up kind of in foster care, and all I ever thought of was I thought of not repeating what was done to me. And I always enjoyed a fresh start. So throughout my kind of childhood, adolescence, high school, I moved a lot.
Mhm.
And I decided to join the service. I really didn't have anywhere to go. And
Right.
what better way to do a fresh start? Nobody knew me. Nobody knew where I came from. Nothing. I had no
I don't think
idea.
anybody cares in the military, right?
No, they don't. They don't care, and you definitely don't know what you get yourself into. You sign on not even dotted line. It's a line that says, "Okay, I'm going to volunteer to do what you tell me to do," and the rest is history. I learned a lot in the service. I was in for 13 years.
Ooh.
And I learned a ton, and then I came home. It was really hard adjusting. It's one of the things they do not tell you that you're going to go through, but it was really difficult adjusting. And shortly after that, I went to school. So I went to college and became a radiation therapist. And I loved taking care of patients. Yes, it was so fun. I found that I really loved people.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a little bit to realize that because I didn't for a while.
Understandably.
I just didn't want to get hurt anymore. So I figured if I don't surround myself with people, then I don't get hurt. So I kind of avoided the situation. And I think a lot of us avoid situations. But I learned that it was good. It was great. And then I decided to become a mom.
And you have some cute kiddos too.
I do. Not because they're mine, but
they are cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. I don't even I'm not one of those people that thinks all kids are cute. You're super cute.
Thank you. And then within, having my children, I started my business for the second time. So
you got the sales. But I want to stop real quick and talk about this mom thing. Because we're all ladies here today, right? At least probably for the most part. We probably have one or two guys watching, in which case, hi guys, thanks for the support. But seriously, as women, I've seen over the years so many women basically shamed for, it's like this catch-22. They're shamed if they work too much and then they're not mom enough. And then on the other hand, if you are too much of a mom, well, then you're not a good employee. And it's this just round and round and round conversation. And it's crazy, down to the fact that women that have employment gaps for having chosen to be home with their children have a hard time finding a new job, which is just lunacy to me. I have a whole tirade about that, which I won't get into. But tell me how you do it. How do you go about balancing the two?
Well, A balance is a key word. So a lot of women look for balance. And I think of balance as one of those scales, right? So if you balance, you 50-50. You're not giving either one 100%. And for me, I decided to do harmony. So with harmony is I have a scheduled time that I work. And when I work, I work. I don't deviate. I don't, do the laundry. I don't, have some hot cocoa because it's really cold. So I kind of focus on just working.
Right.
But then I'm with my children, I am solely with them. So phone calls come in, emails come in, and they don't get answered. And I allow, and it's not always easy. It's a process, but you also give yourself, for moms, you give yourself the opportunity to be a mom and not feel guilty. It is the worst feeling working and thinking, oh, I should take the babies out for ice cream, or the children, I'm missing a baseball game. But if you work when you need to work and switch it, it's like a light switch, and then you switch it off. It's so gratifying. You feel accomplished. You feel like you've done your thing. And it just alleviates any guilty, nothing. You don't feel guilty. You don't feel bad. And I tell my children when they come in and I'm working, I have a hat, working hat. If mommy has that hat on, unless it's an emergency, you can wait.
Yeah. Unless your leg is falling off. They don't care. My mother actually, I think, nailed this concept, just nailed it when I was growing up, because she is an incredible professional and has really grown and developed her career and just really been very accomplished. But then as a mother, I never felt anything lacking. I never felt as a child, I never missed her. She was always having deep conversation with me. When she came home, she would bring me in as she was, undressing and getting comfortable. We would discuss her day. Even from when I was a newborn baby, she did this with me. She would bring me in and tell me all about her day. We played together. She gave me that real intense one-on-one. So I think you've hit the nail on the head with that. I think I had never thought of it, the harmony aspect to it, but I think that is genius advice. It really is, because that's a hard balance. It is. It's hard when you're raising people. That's a super important job. But then in order to raise those people, you have to make money. So you have to have this other job too.
And also too, but if you take that balance out of your head, you say, you know what, there's no way I'm going to have balance. Let's just create harmony. Harmony is pretty. It sounds nice. So like you just said, when your mom used to talk to you, I was told, make the person in front of you pretend they have a sign across their, neck, or a necklace, or in their forehead that says, make me feel important. And if you do that with everyone that you meet with, especially your family, nothing else matters, because they know when you're in the moment, that's it. It's them, only them. And then when you need to do something, they say, okay, go do your thing and then come back. So
that's right.
It makes
100%. Genius advice. I love it. And I want to ask you too, because you've been through some definite career pivots, obviously, in your life. I mean, you went from military to an active military too. It's not like you were sitting around in an office. I mean, you were active military to radiation and the medical field, now to selling cosmetics, which is so drastic. So, which I love too, because I've done the same kind of thing in my career. What is your advice for someone wanting to make a major career pivot, and how to choose where to go and that type? You kind of just walk us through the mentality of that and how you make that decision.
So early on, the military showed me this quite fast. You literally die once and you live every day.
Right.
So for me, it was more or less, you can't always just dwell and think, what if it's going to happen? What if it's going to work? What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
And the shift, it wasn't really so much of a shift, although I went from combat boots to high heels. I kind of, that was pretty awesome. But the concept was, it's always team building. I was always kind of in a leader position. I love teamwork. I love helping people, which kind of transitioned. So in a sense, it was kind of the same, different aspects of it. But, I love the teamwork. Teamwork for me is so huge. And also goal setting. In the service, you put in for a promotion and you have to make a packet. And this packet goes to these people on a board that don't know you. And they say yay or nay. So you have to, you make this thing up, and it's how good you think you are, or how, what you think of yourself. And radiation therapy, you're fighting over 5 or 10 girls. And, so I really love the challenge.
Right.
I love the challenge and the switch.
So I'm hearing that basically what you did is you took the things that you knew to be true about yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love a challenge, I love goal setting, all of that, and then found something else where that would apply, and that would also give you the new needs that you needed met. So I'm not going to be in the military anymore. Obviously, I need a new job. Yeah. So, and let's try this. And I think that's spot on. That's kind of what I went through as well with my career transitions, is that you just have to what can we do with this? And I think it's a really, really important factor to stop and have that self-awareness. You know what I mean? Yeah, I really do. So I want to ask you too, because it's really funny to me whenever somebody talks about their career pivots and then they're like, oh, poof, I was just successful. Voila. What were your struggles? Yeah. Yeah. What were your struggles? And let's do from radiation to selling cosmetics, because that's kind of a more relatable, I think, for a lot of our audience. What were some of the struggles that you went through doing this to find success?
The ability for someone to trust you, getting no's, getting rejections. I used to, now it's a different story, but I used to give myself prizes for how many no's I would get.
Okay. All right.
I would come home and I would come home and tell my husband, okay, there's so many no's. I'm getting so many no's. I don't even know what to do. At one point I got a yes. That I got one particular day, I got a yes, and I didn't even know what to tell her because I had so many no's. I was stuck. I said, okay, give me a second so I can answer you, because it was just the rejection or the credibility. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I wanted, but people almost want to see what you do first. And I didn't know anyone here. So it was a whole new territory, whole new business, whole new everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was tough getting to know people, but now
networking,
I don't
right?
think,
like networking, network.
And it's making connections too. When you meet someone, it's making that connection on. It's not so much what you can do for me it's not what I can do for you. It's what you can do for me. It's kind of, actually the verses is what you can do for them.
Not what you can do for me, what I can do for you. I know, I got you. I know what you mean.
So just making a connection, because sometimes, you may not be able to service everyone, but if you always go in with a great intention, everything comes back. So it comes back tenfold, and such a blessing that it doesn't matter at the end.
You know what's fascinating? So Craig Fisher, who's been on the show before and runs TalentNet USA, and now he's doing a company, I think it's called NAC. But anyway, he's always talking about this 5-to-1 ratio. Give 5 to ask 1. So give more than you ask. So if you're out there and people, try to give you opportunities, or people ask you to do something, say yes, help them, put good energy out there, put good relations out there, because I will tell you, whether it is sales or whether it is somebody hiring you, your reputation is key. And B, people want a giver. That's just true. That's just what they want, whether it's to buy a product, whether it's running a company and looking for an employee, they want someone who's a giver and who has the mentality of teamwork and of putting others first, right? And so when you brand yourself that way, that creates all kinds of opportunities. Plus, if the more people that know you and that you've helped, the more people are going to step up when you have a need. I watched so many business owners that lost their businesses during COVID, and when they were about to, and when they posted on social media and said, I need help, people ran to their aid and helping them out and spending money with them and helping them. Yes, it's, and yeah, I love that ratio too, that 5-to-1. It's just one of those things. When you put that energy out there, it helps. I mean, even you coming on this show today, I literally walked up to you at a networking event and announced to you that you were going to be on my show.
Yes. And I said, okay.
You go, okay. And you just never know what can come from it, and it just building those relationships and getting to know people is so crucial. I preach that all the time. And don't start networking when you have a need. Okay. Make connections now and build up your personal brand, which again, we're going to talk about with Anna, and just get out there, spread the word, Yes.
Spread the word, share the wealth, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And try new things, new things, hop on a podcast randomly,
Why not?
Yeah, seriously. And actually, by the way, great way to promote personal brand. Just side note to everybody watching, get out there and have footage of yourself talking about what you can do. So kind of the last question I have for you, very specifically, before we talk about at the end what you do and everything. I find it fascinating when someone can talk about who they are. I'm a studier of people. I love to learn about the human experience. And one of the things that drew me to you is the fact that you do talk about your personal life and what you've been through. How do you think making that connection or talking about these things has helped you grow professionally and helped grow your network?
Okay. So I believe with my heart that it makes me relatable. A lot of times you see someone and you see the canvas or the front cover, and as you become true to yourself, because what happens is when you don't really talk about it, nobody knows, and it's always a secret. People might say, oh, she has it all put together, or nothing ever happened. And for a long time, I never wanted to say anything because I didn't want nobody judging or feeling bad or indifferent. It was just something that, I kind of just kept it in. But I realized that when you become true and you become authentic to your own self, it's almost like a beam of just it's like a rainbow. It's just it's so freeing. People can relate to you. They trust you more. You're able to listen more too, because now you're not blocking so much in, and you don't have so much compressed. So you have so much more room for everything. So for me, it was more being vulnerable, and vulnerability is one of those things you learn how to do. And
it's not easy.
Humble. No, not easy, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it because, we're human, and if we choose to learn from our mistakes, everything becomes easier and smoother.
Right.
But sharing stories, I mean, I've had people inbox me after and say thank you. And it's so heartwarming to do that, because I'm not perfect. I'm so far from perfect, but I'm okay with that. But I'm okay with that. I'm imperfectly perfect, so I'm good.
That's right. That's a good way to say it. And I had a similar experience too. I did a post a while back, and I don't know what in the world made me do this. Actually, no, I do. I shouldn't say that. Tara Furiani inspired me to do this, and I posted about being a bipolar business owner, and I thought it would get basically no response. 300 some odd people that I did not know started responding to it. People started connecting with me. I got speaking opportunities, and I'm going, okay.
Mhm.
So apparently the thing that I thought would scare people endeared them to me. And I think that that's an important lesson for people to take, is that just because don't let your fear stop you. Just because you
Yeah.
think it might scare people or it might intimidate them, you'll be really surprised. And it might scare some weenies, I don't know.
Always. Yeah.
But you're going to have a lot more people attracted to you and to your experience than the ones that will run the other direction. So be authentically you, I think, is an important takeaway. And I want to thank you so much for coming. And Ingrid, if you have makeup needs, Miss Ingrid here is one heck of a representative of Mary Kay, and will be glad to assist you with any of your needs. Connect with her on LinkedIn, on Facebook. She's there. Where else can they connect with you?
I'm on Instagram, but I wanted to say one thing that I say a lot. It's okay not to be okay.
Yes, we talked about that on our mental health episode.
Yes. It's fine. But on Instagram, I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn. You taught me that, and on Facebook. So.
Absolutely. I thank you again so very much for
Thank
coming
you.
and sharing. Oh, Rebecca, who's one of my favorites, who was on our mental health episode, she says sharing your story is very powerful, and she is 100% right. So thank you for coming and sharing some of your story with us.
Thank you.
It was a true pleasure having you, Ingrid. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. Thank you.
Right now, we're going to bring in Miss Joy Ruffen. I am very excited to have her on. She's a very inspirational.
I'm here.
Technical issues today, and I apologize, but hello.
It's technology and it happens. Hello, Katherine, and everyone in the audience. I am just over the moon that I'm here with you. Delighted to be here.
I am so excited. I had so much fun doing your show. I appreciate you reciprocating and coming and speaking with my audience today. I love your story, and I love your energy too. And I met you because we were the crazy people cracking jokes at the networking event. Probably annoying Anna, but who's going to come on next? But I love your story. So let's hear a little bit about you and what you do.
Oh, my story. My story. By the way, I commend you, I praise you, and I celebrate you, because what you're doing is absolutely stupendous in so many ways and so needed. And all of the women that you brought here today and the people that you brought prior to this get together, it is all about what really resonates to the marrow of my bones. It's about supporting and empowering all of us to be all that we can be. My background is never ending. I started out as a fashion designer, and then I went into merchandising and buying. I worked for Vogue and I traveled all over the country. But how did I come to do this? When my parents separated, I'm going to be succinct with this. I'm going to leave out a little bit of stuff, but I'm an open book, so you can always come back and ask me anything. I was an angry brat because I was the apple of my daddy's eye. I was a daddy's little girl and spoiled rotten. So at the time, Katherine, you didn't talk about these things. My mother had a nervous breakdown. So she sent us into the deep, 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 deep South to be with her parents, our grandparents, my sister and I. And while there, I was angry, but we acclimated quickly because it was all about community, family, relationships. That's what life is all about. So my sister and I, within no time, we acclimated. What was to be 2 months, 3 months turned into almost 3 years. But here's what happened. When we came back, what they called up north, in the home economics class, the teacher walked over to me and she put her hands on her hips and she said, "Joy, you're so darn good at this. I think you should think about being a fashion designer." And that's how it all started. But here's what happened. It's a long saga. I can go on. What happened is that while there, I did what we're all taught to do. So what I'm doing today is more like a movement for women, second act, second chapter, midlife, whatever terminology you choose to use, because it's regardless of age. I discovered that as much as I love what Katherine and Kristina rather is doing, because I started off as an image consultant. I get it. She's stupendous and excellent at what she does. But I discovered that most of us, myself included, have no understanding of the beauty of our bodies and everything that encompasses, so that we can show up and stand in our greatness. And that's why I do what I do. What I'm doing is more like a movement today. I'm more into leadership. I'm looking for eagles. And then we can go from there.
That's right. Be an eagle. That's right. I love that. I love what you're talking about being an eagle.
Everybody loves that.
Because, well, and it's a great mental image, right? It really brings that strength to mind. But I want to touch on the ageism issue, because you mentioned it. We had questions about ageism earlier. Ageism, I've got such a pet peeve about ageism. It's so ridiculous. But I want to hear your thoughts about what it is, why it is, and why it's dumb.
Woohoo! Well, let me just say this. First off, I'm old school, back in the day, and old fashioned a little bit, and happy to be. Yet,
for you,
I absolutely engage in and get in every way that I can to applaud technology. That's why you and I are here today. Yet, when it comes to ageism, when it comes to women, and I'm all about women showing up, standing up, stepping into their power and their greatness. And as a woman ages, unfortunately, many think it's not true, and we've not been taught. That's why I say it's more like a movement. What I'm doing is that we can't dress like we did when we were in our 20s, 30s, and even 40s. We have to know, really know, and manage our body shape, personality, lifestyle, and all of that. And once you know that and all the things that Kristina talked about, then you're able to manage and maneuver yourself. You minister, manage, and master you, so that if you do need an image consultant, you can work with them. Because sometimes, not Kristina, but sometimes they will tell you and give you what's new, pretty, popular, and trendy, and that's not going to work for you. You find your style, your colors, the fabrics that work for you, contingent upon your lifestyle and your personality, and then you go from there. So ageism, it's very paramount for a woman after a certain age, because men still dominate the fashion industry, which I love, but it's fickle. And until you really get to know who you are, we go back to that confidence, style, and presence, then you're not going to have your signature. I call it signature style. Verbiage is verbiage is verbiage. It's the same thing. But I don't buy into age. I don't buy into asking a woman what is her age and how, because it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Where's her heart? Where's her soul? Where's the energy that she's giving out to others? I love all that you're sharing here today, because we're here, all of us who are professionals, and we're gatekeepers, messengers. We're here to share our wisdom and our gift with others.
Yes, 100%. I love that. I love that answer. Because it's so true. And when you're talking about, that men still dominate, a lot of people don't realize. So people hear this wage gap thing, and it's very confusing to them, because wage gap is not what people are thinking. It doesn't mean that when you're in an equal position, in an equal, in the same area and all that you're getting paid less. The reason that there's an wage gap is that women are not reaching positions of true decision making. So in the Fortune 500, you can look this up. This is very easily located.
Right.
12% of the executives in the Fortune 500 are women or minorities, and that's combined. Okay. So it is still very much a man's world in the executive space, but that is changing. And one thing that's happening that is making me so happy is that women are taking over entrepreneurship by leaps and bounds. We are coming.
And
women are starting their own businesses.
Yes. And Katherine, what I love about that, I do a lot of speaking here, there, and yonder. And one of the groups I took from them, and I asked for permission. This is a mantra. Everything is a mantra that you use in a way. But this one I want to leave your audience with, because it's so major. We as women, we cannot any longer. One of the other reasons that I come to do the work that I do, because of my mom, who never really kind of got herself together and always had that insecure, not secure feeling, and was that kind of stuff that none of us really like. Their mantra, this real estate group that I spoke to, was, we don't compete with one another. We complete one another. That's why I commend you and all the women who are here today. I love the work that Kristina is doing. We're doing the same thing in different ways. There's no competing. We can complement and complete each other in what we do. And until we come to that, and this female movement that went on back in the day, it was good. It was needed. But now we have to go beyond that.
Yes.
We're not here to be
Next step.
because we are. We're here to step up with our heart-centered leadership and lead from our core soul essence of who we are.
100%. 100%. And you know what? I think that that's why women are gravitating towards entrepreneurship, is that we're going, no, we can do it better. We can do this whole thing different. We don't want to fit into this. We want to show you a better way. I think that's what it is. Every time I talk to women about why they've started a business, there's some passionate, exciting reason. And a lot of times with guys, it's, I wanted more time, or I wanted more money. I'm going, nah. But not always. I've known some wonderful male entrepreneurs as well. But and also to your point of, so I think that's why we're gravitating there. But I also think that it's very important to remember that we're not competing, we're completing. I'm friends with other recruiters. I am friends with other show hosts. That's how you grow. That's how you support each other. And we send each other business. We send each other guests. We all support each other. That's what you do. That's how you grow successfully.
You're talking my language. You're speaking my language. You're speaking my soul. Let me share this with you too, if I may. You use two words there that are very major in all the talks that I do, and that is better and different. I use the scale of 1 to 10 or pigeons to eagles, whichever analogy you want to use.
I love that, the pigeons to eagles.
Yes. The pigeons, we pretty much, they're number one up to whatever level they are, and the eagles are at the top because they're wise, they're full of wisdom, they're majestic, they're honorable, they can soar alone, yet they know that they need community. Yet, here's the difference. They're wise enough to know that they're no better than anybody else. They're different.
That's right.
And the number one, maybe the pigeon, that's just an analogy, a metaphor that I'm using. They are no less than the eagle. And until you get that, there is no leadership in your domain. There's no leadership talent or ability that you can use, because that's paramount in everything that you do. There is different. When it comes to the human nature, there is no better.
Right. Right. 100%. That's what I tell everybody. You are just different. A manager and a director are two very different personality types and very different, but one is not better than the other. They're just different. For instance, my husband is a phenomenal manager. I was good, but I'm not phenomenal at it. I am really good at the director and exec type, just because of how my brain works and that I think differently. Those are just different skill sets, and he's really good at it too. But if you really balance us, or if you're really looking at us, the reason that we can work together is that we know our strengths and we work accordingly. He is phenomenal with people. He also is the CFO for us and does all the financials and all that, which I am horrible. And we balance each other. And that's what it is. It's just understanding differences. One is not the janitor is not less than the CEO.
And
no.
you use another word there. You use balance, and you also use, what you're good at, and verbiage is verbiage. Now it's a zone of genius. You know where your zone of genius is, or you're in the process of getting there. And you also know what your weaknesses are. And you really work to expound on the areas that you're excellent at and get others to support you, knowing that they're just different in what you're doing. That's the beauty of real leadership, is knowing and balancing. I think it was Ingrid who used balancing it out. I have something now that I call the joy code that I use everywhere that I go, and I'm getting ready to do a free workshop introducing to me, to the audience, to people who want to understand more about what their signature style is all about. We talk about balance, we talk about harmony, we talk about grace as it applies to the individual. Yes.
I love that. I do. And I think, and we've had several comments, women are good multitaskers. Yes, absolutely we are. And You know what's interesting too, that I thought about while you were speaking, Joy, is
Yes.
there are a lot of, I love to study religions. I love to learn about all different kinds of religions. And most religions call on women to be multitaskers, right? You need to be strong in the home. You need to be strong as a mother. You need to be a strong wife. You need to also need to work. You need to do, there's all these different things that it calls on women to do. And so I think that there is an understanding, even in our most primitive selves, that women can do all of these things. You know, I've heard women, they get frustrated because they're expected to do a lot, but I think that's kind of where we thrive.
I think so too. I completely agree with you, except I have a vast separation there. We can do any, every, and all things all the time, but separately. We cannot do them at all at the same time. And this is a mistake that was made prior to where we are now.
Yes. And Ingrid hit the nail on the head with that, with talking about harmony, not balance. Because balance means nobody's getting 100%. Harmony means when I'm here, I'm doing 100%. When I'm here, I'm doing 100%. But I changed my focus. And that's what true multitasking is. Not doing everything at once.
And that was the belief that many of us were under that umbrella for a long time. You know, that was maybe before your generation, mine too, but the Peggy Lee song, throw in the bacon, do da da da.
Yes. Yes.
We don't do that anymore. We can't. We can't.
And you know, it's been really interesting over the years to watch other women's careers and how they grow and how they develop, because women are changing so much. And I love to watch women that started in a generation that did not embrace them in the workplace, right? And how they're evolving now to run things and put their brand out there and put their foot down and say, nope, I'm here. You don't get to shush me. I have things to say about it and I know what I'm doing. I love it. I love this evolution that women have come through. And Mercedes says the agile mindset. Yes.
I like that.
100%. 100%.
It's a good time, Katherine. It's a good time for women, and it's time for us all to connect and unite together. Expression, love everybody. You're not going to love everybody, but hold them in high regard and respect, because you never know when you're going to need them, and there's no need ever to badmouth anybody.
No. I did a YouTube live earlier today with Scott Frieda about that, who's an entrepreneur. Do not do that, and don't do it on social media, because you will get caught, you will get flagged, and your employer will know, your customers will know.
Everyone.
Do not do it. It is not a good choice in your life, and it doesn't help you. Who does that help?
No, not at all. It doesn't support you and what you want to do, and it shows a very bad side of you.
Now,
so be open.
I will call out hate when I see it, but I'm not going to berate people in general or anything. But no point in that. Just no point. So we only have a few more minutes, but I wanted to ask you, Joy, because I love some of your tips on this. So we have some people that are job seekers watching, some lovely ladies that are looking for new employment. What are some of your best tips for them? Is there, in terms of presenting themselves effectively, and in terms of maybe some different ideas of where they should look for jobs?
Well, there's a package there that you're delivering, but I can speak to that because you started off, and you and Kristina spoke to a lot of the things that still matter. But when you're going for a job, the competition is going to be fierce. There's no question about that, because of this craziness that we're all involved with in making the best of it. Show up as your best self. Casual is good. We're not talking about dressing to the nines anymore. No one does that. But show up neatly, well-groomed, and a style that's appropriate for you and the position that you're going for. And do your due diligence. Do your research. Find out about that company, everything that you can. Because even though you're going for that position, and it's for you, it's not for you, it's for the company. So know everything that you can about the company, and everything that you reply and respond back to the person who's interviewing you, make it about how you can support the company. I work at 500 Headhunter, so I know what companies look for. First off, what Kristina said is so true. First impressions still matter. And casual, nothing wrong with casual, but kick it up a notch if that's your groove. But make sure that you speak the language of the company that you're going for. Be true to who you are, but yet know enough about the company that you already feel that you are part of that company and they feel it as well.
That is spectacular advice. I'm actually going to make a little mini clip of just that little segment of advice later. That was wonderful. Thank you. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Joy. You are always a true pleasure to have around. Thank you for your wonderful insights. If you want to connect with Joy, you can do so on Facebook. She has her own lovely show. How do they watch your show?
Oh, by the way, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm an executive producer as a TV host and a podcaster for 2 shows that I do: Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies, and Biz to Biz with Joy, Grow Your Business in Style. I am always seeking talent. I'm always wanting to put people out into the stratosphere with their message, whatever the message is, and especially women, but men as well for Biz to Biz. I charge minuscule amount. You get the video and the audio, but it's well worth it, believe me, because my intention is to spotlight and highlight and showcase you and what you do. And there are many platforms that it goes out over after the show. So thank you for that, Katherine. I appreciate it.
Yes. So connect with Ms. Joy on LinkedIn, on Facebook. All of that information, if you're on LinkedIn, is in the LinkedIn event. If not, I will be dropping it to the comments later. Definitely connect with her. I've been on her show. Trust me, it's worth it. And have a wonderful rest of the day, Joy. Thank you.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, we have our final guest. She may be last, but she is most certainly not least. We have the one and the only Miss Anna Valencia Tillery joining us today.
Yay! Hello! What a show you're doing!
Thank you.
I'm digging it.
I saw you in the comments. Thank you for watching too. I appreciate it. So
My
are you
pleasure.
actually at White Glove Moving today?
I'm working remotely from the comfort of my home.
I saw the National Moving. I saw the little background. I love the little.
Always branding. In the backstage view, it looks bigger. So
yeah.
some of the ones
I
cut
sure.
off.
But I'm going to throw this on out there because they are also a client of my. White Glove Moving and Storage is a phenomenal moving company, and they do national. They've done moves across the nation. They do local moves here in the Treasure Coast and in Florida. Phenomenal company. These guys will take care of you. And how many minutes is it now that we're up to with their big muscles that you're always talking about?
Grabbing handsome men with muscles to make moving easy. And they clearly have great taste in their marketing department.
Obviously. You're that way. Obviously. So I want to talk to you. So you are kind of the queen of networking in the Treasure Coast. And you run a networking group, the Premier Women's Network of the Treasure Coast, which you expanded from Vero to the whole Treasure Coast. And if you don't know the Treasure Coast, so it's kind of, it'd be like saying you took over a smaller version of DFW or or something like that.
Sure, I like it.
This is quite a territory that this lady has conquered here. And then you also participate, you're in other types of events, you're always being an MC for things. How has networking, first of all, how do you make it work? With your full-time job, how do you make this work?
I'm fortunate that the ownership at White Glove sees the fact that networking is instrumental in creating brand awareness throughout the areas we serve. So creating the Treasure Coast Premier Women's Network and expanding it during COVID is just part of the bigger picture and what I do to represent this remarkable company. So I'm able to juggle them all because it fits in to the overall strategic plan of our marketing strategy and how we approach it without having bazillions of dollars to throw at a national awareness campaign. We know our sweet spot, we focus on it and thrive as a result.
I love that. And it's so important to realize that, guys, if you're thinking, oh my God, I can't work 9-10 hours a day and then go network, I'm so exhausted. A lot of companies will let you have the time in your day and will work with you very strongly because they realize that helps their business for you to be out there networking. So it is not difficult in a lot of cases to get employers to support you. in your networking efforts. So how has that helped you grow your personal brand? Because that's what we're going to talk about with you today, is personal branding. So how does that help? How does networking help you do that?
Well, I came to the Treasure Coast 16 years ago. At the time, I owned my own decorative concrete company with my former husband. And so I was able to come in and immediately convey a different sense of confidence, because I came in as a business owner and was excited about what I had to offer the community. One of my favorite mantras is that marketing is essentially enthusiasm transferred to the customer. And I believe that 1,000% from the days that I pursued sales and marketing in school alongside my communications degree, and then transferred it into the workplace. So the personal branding side of being able to get out there has always spoke to me, because I'm from smaller towns where your community involvement was not just a suggestion, it was really an encouraged act, and you weren't pursued unless you could showcase that you had that level of investment in the community to be able to get started. So I've always used that as a catalyst, and I've just built upon that over the years.
I like that. And you know, it's true. I think having the confidence that you bring something to the table, whether it's your own talents and abilities or a really great service that your company provides, I think that that's really crucial to have that kind of confidence. So when you're out there branding yourself, because you've definitely got a name for yourself, how do you present yourself in a way that generates the right kind of relationships? What are your steps? But let's start with this. What are your steps to get your mind right before an event? Because I mean, you have stressful days. I talked to you the other day when you were having a stressful day. So how do you get your mind right before you have to go be so on in front of everybody?
You know, I have had the pleasure of being mentored by some of, I think, the area's finest. So from a Sasha Zebrick to a Faith James, I've been able to take from them some very useful tidbits that I apply in my daily life. I know earlier in the show you were talking about balance, and Ingrid came in with this amazing concept of harmony. Yeah. And I'm viewing 2021 as alignment with where I want to be, both personally and professionally, in conjunction with having a timeout that is in relation to neither of those things, right? Not necessarily my personal family time that I love and adore, or my work that I'm always on 7 days a week, but knowing that I can have just like a moment of escape, right? And so I believe in automobile university. You're always learning when you're driving, while also being aware on the road. 100% gals, we are very good at multitasking. Yes. So I do use that time in the vehicle to help me get my bearings right, make sure whatever I want to hit on and focus is going to be conquered. Okay. And I believe in a healthy regimen of really good vitamins and espresso. And
I tell you, you know, health has a lot to do with it. A lot of people don't stop and think, oh, you know, how I'm feeling physically is really going to affect my energy and my mentality, and how it is everything, guys. And let me tell you, I take B12 in the morning, and that jolts me because I can't do caffeine. That's a no-go in my life. I love it, but I can't have it. I tell you, when you have to quit caffeine in your life, that's a tragic day. But I do B12, and it gives me that nice little jolt. I take multivitamins. I do yoga. I stretch. I go to the gym. We talked about this with Michaela. That's such an important part in taking care of yourself. Another thing that you do that I love, because actually you helped me feel good about this, but one of the very first events I went to, I don't remember if it was the first or second, I walked in, and you know, we live close to the ocean, guys, okay? So my hair was out to here. It was just
Florida humidity.
Yeah, Florida humidity. And I walk in and I'm sitting there, like obviously trying to fix this disaster of a head that I had going on. And Anna walks up to me and smiles and goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. That's just Florida hair. We all have that." And it just kept going. And I was like, "You know what? She's right. Why am I worried about this? This is Florida. My hair is poofed out to my shoulders. Everybody else is probably going to look the same." And they did for the
Right.
most part.
You know, I had a gal that I was chatting with yesterday who really is a positive force in my life. And she was saying that on any given day, we have upwards of 50,000 thoughts. And more than 80% of those thoughts in women are typically negative thoughts. Things that we think poorly about ourselves and our situation and environments.
Right.
And if we could just work at switching that, and just even to have that balance of half negative, half positive thoughts, it creates some sort of symbiosis in our world that allows us to function, because we have to be astute of if there is really a technical flaw, like let's fix it. But in the event that it's big hair, let's just rock it. That's what I say.
Yeah, just you know what? Whatever. Give yourself grace, ladies. We talked about this earlier. Give yourself grace. Just, you know, if you're having a wacky hair day, embrace it. I've come on the show and had to talk about, okay, guys, you see my eye twitching? I have a seizure disorder. It's gonna just happen today. Bear with me. You know, just keep going. Just keep on with it. Don't let it stop you in your path. So I also wanted to ask you about, because I think that this is a really important topic for women too. We touched on this with Ingrid, as you've referenced. So you're a mama, and you're a wife.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you do all kinds of activities with your husband, because you have, you know, where you go out on the boat and you talk about all the different local sites and all that. So what are your tips for, or kind of what's your strategy for managing personal life and then all the work that you do? Because I think you're like me and you kind of work 7 days a week. So how do you balance that?
I wish I could say that I was as disciplined as Ingrid in that scenario, and her children are smaller, so I think that requires a different level of attention. My son is 14. I'm pretty sure that with his early release day, he's already snuck in, even though I left a note saying Mom's in a virtual broadcast right now. You know, but both he and my husband are very supportive, and they know that I'm passionate about the work that I do, and that I am the face of a company that requires me to be a resource for people when moving is stressful. And ladies' luncheons are, you know, when a lady discovers it, she could be so excited. It could be Sunday at 11 o'clock and she wants to know more. Yeah. So I have no problem addressing things when I'm capable and I have Wi-Fi or the ability, you know, because on some of our river roaming trips, I am out in the boonies, off limits entirely. Yeah. And to that point, it's so important from a professional aspect to always update your phone message and your email message to reflect that, because we don't know the urgency on behalf of the customer or that person or potential client. So having that there allows them to know, I'm going to get this follow-up, or here's a different alternative for me to pursue so that I can get the answers I need.
That's a good tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but with that in mind, they're really just conscious of the fact that this is what Mom does, and they let me have that time to be able to quickly and easily address it. And when you know what you do and you're passionate about it, you can usually wrap up those conversations pretty quickly. Address it, handle it, and then bam, I'm back at 100%.
I like to have my time off with just my husband, and I do take that at least once a week. Like, phone gets left behind, you all can just deal with it. But I'm like you, and because of what I do, I'm helping people get jobs, and candidates get panicked, they get scared. Companies will have random needs, although most of my clients are pretty good about this. And then with the show, you know, I've had people reach out that are job seekers that just really need help, or they want an introduction or something like that, or somebody wants me to do an appearance for them. And so I think it is important too, ladies, to remember it's okay to ask for grace from your loved ones too. That yes, I will give you that time. You will have my attention and my love and my priority. And I'm always here if you really, really need me. But this is how I bring home the bacon. This is how I make our lives wonderful. And I need you to support that.
And they will. And
Yes,
they
and they
absolutely will.
Yeah, and they're not, you're not on an island, lady. And it's the same thing with your friends. You know, I tell all my friends, I am here for you. They know if they text me, I text back real quick. But if it's one of those rare times that I'm not, they know that I'm busy with this, but I will come back to you. I am here for you. And if you need me, I will be there in 2 seconds. So I think establishing boundaries is a good way to say that, and establishing expectations is really important too. So having those conversations. So when it comes to personal branding for job seekers, because we have several job seekers tuning in right now.
Yay! If you want a job as a mover, hi.
Move to the Treasure Coast, ladies. We embrace diversity and I love moving.
Yes.
And you know what's funny? We have had some women that have started applying for the hiring event that we're having coming up. I'm like,
perfect.
All right, let's do it. Let's see if we can add some ladies to this team. So first of all, ladies, do not be afraid to apply to non-traditional jobs. That's fine.
Fair.
And then also, what are some of your tips for presenting yourself effectively when walking into an interview and you're face-to-face with someone or on a Zoom?
Well, I loved Joy's point that it is imperative that you have some sort of background on the company and make sure that you have the same alignment in their philosophies and what it is that they are delivering. Because if not, you won't be passionate, it won't work. Why waste anyone's time? Right. I know people love to use the word authentic a lot. I have a hard time with that word for some reason. I guess I've always just believed that people are who they are. And to say that you're not being your authentic self isn't necessarily valid, because sometimes we just have off days.
Oh, well, that's true. Now, we all have off days.
Right. And so I just feel like sometimes that word is overused and maybe not as valuable as it could be, especially when you are experiencing the feelings that go into looking for a new position, right? Because you work and you spend a lot of time with people you work with. And so this is important, and it can be stressful.
Yes.
Right.
100%.
So the idea of like how you see yourself and then how others see you, if they were to be two circles, somewhere in the middle is that personal brand, right? And so you want to be sure that when you're in person, whether you're at a networking function, a grocery store, at your kid's school, a PTA meeting, something like that, or they're in the interview or even online on social media, that what that middle is what you were hoping to project.
Right.
And so
I think that's very true. I think
so for example, if someone were to say, this person is very generous, your posts and your actions need to align with that level of generosity. And it doesn't have to be that you're signing away checks for thousands of dollars.
Right.
There are ways that you can be generous without giving away your life savings. I mean, at some point, it's okay to hold your own money true and dear to you because you earned it, and you're saving it.
Yeah. You don't owe anybody all of your money.
Right. So I don't want that example to.
No. I know what you mean. I think too that it's, and I like what you said about you just are who you are, and sometimes and going into a job interview is stressful. So you're not going to be as relaxed. That is their job, by the way. That is the HR recruiter, whoever's job, to help you feel more comfortable and to help you relax and just be able to breathe and be you. I think it is important to never misrepresent yourself in an interview. Never misrepresent yourself. And again, give yourself grace. If you get in there and you're nervous and you're stumbling around, just stop and make a joke about it. Just go.
Right. I love that.
Oh man, okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied. Give me just a second, and just stop and think. And there's nothing wrong with pausing before you answer, right?
I love an effective pause. Ooh,
yes.
Set the mood.
Thinking, yes. And it leads up to excitement, and they know that you're really thinking and you're not just spouting something off that you practiced in the mirror. That's a really great way to let people know that you're really paying attention and that you're really diving in. So Anna, real quick, what is the best way for people to connect with you if they would like to be in your inner circle, so to speak?
Well, I am found online in lots of different places. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. Earlier you mentioned about utilizing LinkedIn to your advantage. Writing articles on LinkedIn and making sure that that profile is fresh and as updated as possible is very beneficial, especially for those job seekers.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, look within LinkedIn jobs because it is useful. So Anna Valencia Tillery on LinkedIn is great. TCPremierWomen'sNetwork.com is our website for the local ladies luncheon, and an excellent opportunity to just get familiar with some of the ladies that we network with and get a sense of what that networking feels like and looks like, and perhaps you can emulate something like that in your own community. People always like to do business with people that they know or know of, and there's no better way than creating a platform and a space for them to do so. LinkedIn and Facebook, but Treasure Coast Premier Women's Network is definitely our favorite.
And it is a great group. And guys, ladies, excuse me, I keep doing it. Ladies, you can definitely learn a lot from that group and make some great connections. These are fabulous, fabulous women. I spend a lot of time with them, and Anna puts some great content in there. So definitely check it out. And thank you so very much for joining us today, Miss Anna. It was a true pleasure.
Thank you. Cheers.
Have a great rest of the day. Bye. So guys, we are wrapping up the show, but I want to kind of touch on a few things. So we had a comment earlier from Miss Stacy, and she said, but women, and we were talking about entrepreneurship with Joy. She said, but women, especially Black women, did not get the same venture capital funding. You are right. You are right, Miss Stacy. And that can be very frustrating. It can be. So here is my advice for that. It's twofold. Number one, try to start your business without external funding. Okay, do the best you can. I did it. I've known other entrepreneurs that have done it. There are all different kinds of creative ways to do that. Number two, there are nonprofits designed to help minorities and women get funding at little to no interest. So definitely, or even just donated to them. So definitely reach out to those charities. That is a great option for you. And ladies, just remember, all of us are unique. We all have our own special gifts, right? We all have our own special talents. Work together, build up that community, network, network, network. Every single guest we had today talked about that. Network, network, network. It's so important. And don't start when you have a need. Start now. Do it on LinkedIn. Reach out, comment, connect, message, set up Zoom calls. Form your bonds. This is the best way to grow and to accelerate. Support each other. And if you are looking for a great way to personal brand, hop on a podcast such as this one. Reach out to Joy, be on her show. Reach out to other women that are doing shows that can promote and support you. I know some great ones. So if you want some awesome opportunities, definitely reach out to me. I'm glad to connect you. But it's been a great show. I really appreciate it. Ladies, you've all been fantastic. Thank you for all the wonderful comments. Remember again that you can register to win a free fashion boot camp to help you dress for success with Miss Kristina Pernfors. You can tell it's the end of the show. I'm getting a little tongue-tied. With Miss Kristina by connecting with me and her either on LinkedIn or Facebook. And connect with me on LinkedIn. You connect with her on either LinkedIn or Facebook. Let us know that you connected with both of us, and you will be entered into the drawing. The drawing will happen later today. If you want any introductions to anybody that was on the show today, please reach out to me. I'm glad to personally introduce you. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, needs, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I am here to help you always, ladies. So that's it. Thank you for attending. I feel very, very grateful to have had time with you. Oh, thank you so much, Mercedes. Thank you. It's been an absolute joy. Everybody be great. And remember, connect. Thank you so very much. And I'll see you next time. We're going to be talking about MLMs for the Sorry about that, guys. Little technical glitch. Join us next time on Career Launch Live. We're going down to 1 hour episodes once a week, starting in March. So join us every Wednesday from 12 to 1 Eastern time. We will be here. Thank you so much, everyone, and I will see you next time. Toodaloo.